think a lot of us are very hopeful and excited for the impact that we can make across our Ys. It's more needed than ever, and especially from a digital perspective too, right? So, and that's why we're gathered here today. So our agenda for today, I'll give a couple of quick announcements, and then we have a special guest, Phillip Jimenez, who is going to talk a little bit about his virtual Y implementation, and I'll introduce him as well. And then we'll have the product team give an overview on some virtual Y news, as well as just the overall core platform. So Drupal 9, some kind of features and functions there. And then we will close kind of, for those that are interested in the help desk, with Master David Wells. So it's an opportunity. I know many folks have questions on different things for the core or virtual Y. So we've been, on previous monthly calls, we've been carving out some time at the end to do some one-on-one conversations or kind of deeper dive on that. So that said, I will kick us off and just want to provide a couple of updates. And when I look at our community, I always like to talk about just we have more and more Ys of all sizes plugging in and supporting our collective efforts around digital transformation from a community engagement and a product perspective. We're launching new sites regularly, core OpenY websites and virtual Y websites, thanks to our partners and YUSA, who's supporting a number of Ys as well. From a product perspective, just a ton of great progress on the core. As many of you know, various releases coming for Drupal 9 readiness to just improve the product overall, and then a series of fast and furious releases for virtual Y. And the product team will talk a little bit more about how those roadmaps are coming together and some consistency around that as well. From a strategy perspective, we're really trying to continue to enhance the design experience to make it more progressive, more usable for our customers and constituents using our platforms, but also easier for you, for your teams, from a management and integrations. You know, with Drupal 9, there's a lot of new features that are coming in that we're going to leverage, and that's one of the best things about open source, is we don't have to build those from scratch. We can build integrations and build on top of things that already exist there. And then lastly, I just wanted to say, please keep the feedback coming. It's really helpful to hear feedback from everyone around the community and the core products. But we need your input, and we need that helps us to improve the experience. It helps us see the demand and need around specific areas so that we can prioritize. And I know you kind of hear that from the product team as well. So so now I'll transition to Phillip, but I wanted to kind of introduce Phillip as he's the CEO of the West Cook County YMCA in Oak Park outside of Chicago. He's been an OpenY board member for some time, representing our small and mid-size YMCA. But he's also been an advocate and a supporter for digital equity within the movement. Really, when we're building things, how do we have a lens of can it serve and support all Ys? And so really grateful for his leadership and his engagement around that. So Phillip, I want to hand it over to you. I know you wanted to share a little bit about your experience with OpenY, and take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Nathan. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year's. Hope you're all recharged, I guess would be the way to say that. But I was hoping, Nathan, if it was possible to share my slide deck, or you can, I just emailed it a PDF to you. Either way, if it's not possible, it's fine. I can email it to everyone, or you can send it on to everyone afterwards. Great. I think
you just made Phillip a presenter.
Okay. Let me then, hold on a second.
And Phillip, I can always share too if you'd prefer me to do it.
Yeah, if you could, that would be great. And then I can just kind of focus in here. It's just a few slides. All
right.
Thank you. So basically, we can move on to the second slide. I think the most important decision we made was to really think about before reacting to COVID-19. So this would have been March of 2020. We were sort of forced to consider what virtual presence were we going to have. You're looking at a Y that was very minimum in their virtual presence. It had not been something that we had invested much in. As a small to mid-sized Y, we don't have the benefit of having a marketing team. We have a person who does multiple things. So we also wanted to protect the brand. We didn't want to expose members to a variety of different content or brands or outlets. So we limited primarily to the MOSA trial and the Y360. We literally did that for 2 months. And then we learned, by being on the Open Y board, I learned that they had hired a new CVO, Chief Information, CIO in Siva. So we were fortunate to really glom on to the mobile app and Open Y and Virtual Y. So I would say that in the fall of 2020 is when we created our team, developed our vision. So we had about 5 or 6, both programmers, our membership team, communications person, and so forth. We really thought through what we wanted to offer and how we wanted to offer it. And then in 2021, I think within weeks, we'll be launching the mobile app, the Y Mobile or the Y Cloud mobile app. And then hopefully by March or April, our new Open Y website. So we are very excited to offer a suite, the whole entire suite of Y Cloud products. If we can go to the next slide. What we did here now is this is actually one of our production days. We closed our Y in March on Sundays to provide for additional cleaning, and to be honest with you, because we had so much staff reduction to get through COVID financially, it's more of a day of rest just for our staff, because we're all working many roles and people are burning the candle on both ends and so forth. So Sunday ends up being our production. We found a great production team who we had worked with in the past. We then spent about 1.5 months doing the research in terms of what we wanted to do. We used actually youth development technology. We took the youth development lesson planning and basically gave it to all the content creators, and we said, put a lesson plan together. Tell us what your key outcomes are going to be, and that really helped to shape what we were going to do. We actually had our videographer teach us how to be miniature Martin Scorsese's, understanding really what you want to think about when you're putting together production, because we were doing something that none of us had ever done before, right? And we wanted to make sure and create a fun kind of avenue by which people felt confident in the way that they were going to do that. And then we began on-demand fitness. Primarily, it's all on-demand right now. January is when we're launching. Tomorrow, we're actually doing our first virtual meeting for older adults. We have 3 panelists. It's going to include brief presentations. We're going to have breakout sessions and so forth. And then what you'll see there on the right side of that bottom slide is sort of some of our information at this point in terms of this effort. So we're calling this our Y Cloud initiative. We have secured nearly $50,000 in grant funding to pay for production, staff time. The camera that I'm using to talk to you was included in that, right? So we're all really becoming, miniature experts in all of this virtual content. The next frontier for us is going to be launching youth development content, which we're really excited about. We're both acquiring, so some of that money that we've acquired, an additional $30,000 of funding was secured for us to buy content for youth development programming, after-school programming, and summertime Power Scholars Academy. Maybe I should, questions at the end, Nathan, is that probably the better way, or do you want me to take questions while?
Yeah, we can take questions at the end, and typically people throw questions in the chat too, so we'll take those at the end of your remarks.
So we'll go to the next set of slides. This is just really quick data. So the cool thing about Virtual Y, and I'm telling you, it's getting better with each release, but we're able to tell who's, which category of use is getting the most. Oak Park River Forest is a yoga community. So yoga's number one, right? But then you start seeing the other two areas, and that was a shocker to our yoga instructor, because we've had a heck of a time growing our yoga community here. We're just not known for yoga. We've got so many private yoga studios in the area. Well, now we're convinced that we've got yogis in our membership rank, and it's something that we need to just curate and cultivate a little bit more. You then see what these other groups are. We go to the next slide. What you're seeing in the next slide here is the average video views by category. So then that gets us some additional information. And then the last is the next slide is really who's viewing. So it's broken out by type of member, shall we say. So it's good to see that our actual staff are looking at it. That's good. They're clicking through it, learning a little bit more about it. But then you'll see that it's adult and households and senior households. Senior household is probably the area that we're most pleased to see that they're engaging it. It means that our technology is not too complicated and easy to understand. And then if you would, the next slide, I think has a link in it. If you click on that link, it is a brief 2-minute video, and this video helps you understand how we introduced our content to our community. If we can just share that real quickly. I don't know if the sound would come from.
Can everyone hear the sound?
No, we cannot.
Your family with a new and
How about now? Now?
Yes.
safe way to experience your Y. Is going digital with your virtual Y. This platform is designed to provide you and your family with a new and safe way to experience your Y, anywhere, anytime. Through your virtual Y, members of all ages and abilities can access curated educational, fitness, and enrichment content, including on-demand videos, live streams, classes, discussions, and more, all hosted by your Y staff.
Hi, my name is Nikki. Welcome to Level Up Fitness.
Hi, my name is Frank, and welcome to Golden Oldies.
Hello, my name is Marissa. Welcome to yoga.
My name is Sergio. Welcome to Spring Training. Visit your virtual Y regularly to access new content and resources, curated with your safety in mind for all member ages and abilities. Welcome to the virtual Y. My name is Frank, and I'll be your instructor today for a short 10-minute boot camp.
Nice, flow and control here. Hi, I'm Rebecca Bachman, Associate Director of Youth Development here at the Y. In the new year, we look forward to providing youth development virtual programming for your family. Focus on connecting your child to quality digital learning and engagement experiences. Activities are designed to explore a variety of interests at your child's own pace. Thank you for joining us at the virtual Y. Hi, I'm Carrie, the Community Health Coordinator at the Y. We're excited to bring our chronic disease prevention programs virtually to help you reduce the social determinants of health through programs such as blood pressure self-monitoring and the weight loss program. Through our partnership with United Healthcare Medicare's Fitness Passport program, the virtual Y will also be accessible to our new active older adult members.
We're excited to provide you with greater member value through the virtual Y so you can continue achieving your goals anywhere, anytime. To complement the virtual Y, we are launching the Y mobile app in the coming weeks to increase accessibility to your favorite instructors, classes, and programming. If your account is currently on hold, consider activating your membership today and begin accessing our digital content from the safety of your home. This is an exciting time to be a Y member, and we can't wait to do this together, virtually, with you.
Thank you, Nate. What you can see here is we were very intentional with the way that we actually scripted this out. We released it on the day before Thanksgiving. We released 3 videos every Sunday at 5 o'clock like clockwork, and there's an intro to each one of those. We're now starting to introduce the mobile app elements so that people start getting used to that, and we'll start incentivizing that. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Well, excellent. I just wanted to kind of transition, and Phillip, thank you. Thanks for your leadership on this, for your leadership on the board. But for the community, I mean, this is a great example of a why, the West Cook family why, planning, doing, and evolving, right? As you saw with Phillip's kind of roadmap of really intentional about how it's incorporating the team, going after launching things, and then trying things, and then leveraging the data to evolve the experience and double down in certain areas. So Phillip, congratulations. The marketing looks great, and excited to hear more on how your members and team members are activating and responding to this. So let's see what kind of questions we have. So Phillip, some folks are asking if, Mario is asking if you would share the script. Are you fine with me sharing the PDF with folks? And
Yes.
Mario, I don't know if you're looking for more specifics than that, but you know, we can look at sharing elements. Let's see.
Yeah, I think the workout. So the intent is to try and be as why agnostic as possible in our content, so that in theory it can be shared by other YMCAs. And we're also looking to upload other Y associations content, specifically in areas of, you know, fitness or content that we just don't have experts in or people in. So there is that discussion going on, I think, internally around who's got content they want to share. And at some point we would envision some sort of an agreement, I think, where,
Yep.
you know, my stuff is out there and I can grab other people's, and it's just going to make for a nicer universal.
Yeah, and that's obviously one of the underpinnings of why we've leaned into virtual Y the way we have, is the shareability aspects too. And so I know there's a lot of Ys interested in planning to do that. And as we start getting more content out, we'll start identifying which Ys are taking leads in specific content categories. And we can be more thoughtful around not everybody leaning into the same type of content, right? And we can really expand our reach. And I would say, Phillip, I really appreciate you talking about how to kind of make it more YMCA generic, where it's not specific to an association. And I know Y in the North, we're planning on content creation in the same way, where we just want to make sure where the content's being used across the movement, that it still has that relevance as well. Some folks are asking about if you can share a little bit more about just kind of the production team, or kind of high level budgets or equipment, anything at a high level.
Yes, so everything that happens on Sundays with regards to our videographers, their equipment, and so forth is actually sourced by the videographer. So we did pick someone who brought everything along. He had helped us with our Power Scholars video a couple years ago. It's roughly about $1,400 per shoot day, a whole 8-hour day. It includes he and someone else, so 2 videographers. It includes graphics on the back end, so it goes from the raw footage. The raw footage gets sent to one of our team members, the instructor. So Frank is instructing. He then adds the annotation, sends it back to Jeremy, who's our videographer. Jeremy then integrates everything, the branding and all of that, and then produces, well, shall we say, the finished video product. Each Sunday shoot, we do a brief 10-second intro. So what's the release this week? What can you expect? Who is it designed for? We're now starting to think about folder methodology so that people can search through that easily, because we're now up to about 30 videos, all fitness related, and this month we'll start releasing non-fitness related content. We provide a lunch during the production day, and we foresee remaining closed on Sundays, primarily for the same reason we originally did, but also to keep that production day available for our teams.
Excellent.
And I can tell you that we went from flat 0 to where you are, right, where you see us now, from September until November. It's from being neophyte to doing what we're doing now.
So Phillip, we have a lot of questions coming in. Can you talk a little bit about how you captured the demographic and program numbers?
Yeah, so slightly above my pay grade, my team member Kaylee goes into the virtual Y on Sundays. As she's releasing the next release, she's also downloading the detail in terms of who is using our virtual Y. I tell you, the first week it was bleak. It was like 24 people. We were very saddened by the fact that very few people were using it. And then December, so we've got like 400 people now. 1 week alone, I think we had 125. It was like Christmas week. So we go into the virtual Y, and they're able to provide us those details.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think many of you know through Google Analytics, depending on your volumes, not all the data doesn't expose until you get to a certain volume, but the product team can answer more questions as we go through on that too. Let's see what other questions we have here. So how often do you shoot? Are you shooting every Sunday then?
So I would say November and December, we shot every single Sunday. We roughly can get out, our production volume is roughly 6 videos per Sunday. And again, that is dependent on whether it's a 30-minute video, 30-minute workout, or what have you. We really aren't producing 45-minute or 1-hour videos at this point. It's mostly between 20 to 25 minutes, 30 minutes is what we're producing. So count on 6. That includes the crew coming in at 9:30, setting up the cameras. It's almost always done in the large gym, unless you are doing a specialty video like we'll start releasing in January, where it's done in other areas. But then you have lunch. You get 3 videos probably before lunch. Frank, who is the curator of the fitness content, makes sure and connects with fitness staff about what they should expect. They really, they're getting so used to each other that it's very little practice for them.
That's great. And does the grant funding cover those production costs for a period of time?
Yes, and the way I would, position it is just, this is it. If you're trying to keep people safe in COVID, and if you want to continue providing virtual access to content, or if you want to help enrich youth development participants or families, if your Y is helping out school districts with remote learning supervision or what have you, the value is there. Not only is it creating fitness access to those who may not have it otherwise, but you're also closing the achievement gap, helping with social emotional, having a platform that you can deliver any content is a big tool that every Y should have.
Yeah, even think about content for our volunteers, for coaching, or even there could be elements of this for team members, right? Depending on how we want. How about from a competitive perspective, Phillip? Are you have there been any other Oak Park or River Forest based boutiques putting out virtual experiences like this? Or are you a primary local resource in kind of your area?
I think you'll want to look at it first as how many players are in the marketplace. There are probably more players in the marketplace than we probably know of, but the difference is what's the quality and how's it being. So the difference is, and one of the reason we were very refrained from just reacting is we didn't want to have a cell phone video thing, and that was the brand quality that people were going to expect from the Y. So having the discipline to wait for the right product at the right time so that people can receive a comprehensive solution from the get-go at a high production quality, I think raises the bar in terms of what our brand, and everyone then has to compete with that.
Well, excellent. I think we covered most of the questions. If there's others, we can funnel them to Phillip. But Phillip, we're seeing a lot of congratulations from the community in the chat, and we would obviously second that from an Open Y team, core team perspective. So thank you for your time and sharing the expertise, and congrats on the success so far.
Great, thank you.
All right.
I'm going to peel away because I've got my meeting, but happy to, if anyone has any future questions, just reach out.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's another wonderful example of a Y having, like I said, putting a plan together, executing it, and then refining it as we go. So congrats to the Westcook family Y. I'll hand it off to the product team.
All right. Thank you, Nathan. And yes, congratulations to Phillip as well. It's fantastic seeing the experiences that they've pulled together and how they are leveraging virtual Y and Open Y. So let me make sure I've got this all going. You should all see my screen right now. It says OpenY Roadmap Update, or OpenY Roadmap January Update. We're going to run through talking about the release calendar, our February release for the OpenY core, the next virtual Y release, which is planned for today. So Paige will be talking about that in a little bit. And then also our virtual Y March release. And then a little bit about the future roadmap at the very end. And so again, want to talk a little bit about some release calendar notes here. So OpenY, Core, and Virtual Y. You've heard these as spoken about as two different things. But really, Virtual Y is a feature built for the OpenY Core. It leverages the same developer resources. The OpenY Core has a release every quarter, and that's typically scheduled or is scheduled for the second Tuesday of the second month each quarter. Virtual Y, however, has been releasing more on an ad hoc basis, with key dates established about 4 weeks in advance. The Virtual Y release cadence, the history of that is that we started with a beta release back in Q2 of 2020. We had this ad hoc release cycle so that we could trade faster speed for some reduced stability to get those releases out quickly to meet YMCA's needs with the functionality that Virtual Y offered. At that time, there were not a whole lot of sites that were live during that beta phase, so that ad hoc cycle did not cause a whole lot of disruption. Now, what are the benefits of standardizing that release calendar, that release cycle? Well, if we look at our history with OpenY way back in 2017, we also had an ad hoc cycle. But once more sites became live on OpenY, we realized that that ad hoc cycle can increase the total cost of ownership for the OpenY core team, partners, and Y associations. We then recognized that a formal and simplified release calendar, release cadence, can empower Y associations to plan for their upgrades, simplifies the process for partners, and makes it easier to stay current with the latest code. So what does that mean next? What it means is that we will be unifying the releases and the release schedules for Virtual Y and OpenY Core starting on May 11th. At that time, OpenY and Virtual Y will begin releasing on the same dates. That will reduce the total cost of ownership for all parties, as there are synergies that can be leveraged between the two work streams for testing resources, development, and the planning cycles. So let's talk for a minute about some release terminology. I'll try to speed through this quickly. So first off, feature releases. These are those quarterly releases. This is when we have new functionality that goes into OpenY, as well as all of the old bugs that have been fixed since the last major feature release. All of that gets carried over into what is called the feature release. We also have what are called minor or point releases. Whenever we do one of these, there's no new functionality. They're only a security or a maintenance or a bug fix. And unless there's a major issue impacting your specific site that's resolved with that point release, then we recommend skipping that release. Just waiting until upgrading till the next feature release, which has been tested by your partner for compatibility with your site. So what does that look like? Here's the release calendar for 2021. So as we talked about, we have today scheduled the next Virtual Y specific release. We then have a core release scheduled for February 9th. We have the Virtual Y next major Virtual Y release after today would be March 23rd. Then we bring the release calendars together on May 11th, August 10th, and November 9th. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to Sarah Halby, who's going to talk a little bit about the February 2021 OpenY core release.
Thanks, Greg. We're excited that we are finally getting to the finish line with the Drupal 9 upgrade, which is one of two primary features that will be released within the February 2021 release. So as you may remember, in November, we released the compatibility with Drupal 8, working through modules and content at that point in time. The February release will include everything for Drupal 9 as we move forward as our for the OpenY core. And so really working towards ensuring that all of the modules that we have in OpenY core are tested and ready to go. Andre has been working really hard on ensuring that we have access to our maintenance access to all the components that we really need for that work. Additionally, we will be backporting some of the work for Activity Finder v4 and multi-participant registration, which was A/B tested on YMCA of the North. So that's an exciting functionality that will be released soon as it passes QA and testing. Other items that will be included in this release are working through technical debt and maintenance, as well as any of the point release information that we had from December 2020, which will be the last point release since our feature release in November. So that's about it.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And with that, we are going to hand it back to Paige. We're going to hand it over to Paige to talk a little bit about Virtual Y.
Let's do it. All right. 1.2, it's here as of 24 minutes ago. So hot off the presses. It's got a lot of new features. We kind of talked about that a little bit on our call last month, but it's got the design refresh that I know a lot of you are very interested in. It introduces the concepts of favorites and a custom favorites dashboard for each member to manage what kind of content they like best. And then a redesigned calendar for live events that has a week view instead of that day view, and merges our live streams and virtual meeting content types onto one comprehensive live event calendar. For enhancements, Phil had mentioned that his team uses the user activity log within Virtual Y for all those demographics. We've got some updates to those to give you more relevant information that's easier to peruse. Auto logout, you can now control what the default session length should be for a user, like how long they can be inactive before they're automatically logged out. So if you want to set that to 24 hours, that would ensure they have to log in each day, and you can make sure that their memberships are active. And then just a long list of little efficiencies for those who are still building or about to build their Virtual Y site. So all of our early adopters know, you kind of have to have a few bumps in the road that paves the way to make it more smooth for those who come behind you. So thank you to those trailblazers who are already live today. Those lessons will help those who come next. Digging into this a little more, so design refresh can mean a lot of things, but specifically it means there's now a secondary navigation menu instead of the kind of little blue links that would randomly appear throughout the experience. So it's a little more intentional. It's been professionally designed. Thank you, Ben. So it's got kind of just the shortcuts to what your members would need most, mainly that live event schedule, their favorites dashboard, and a categories listing. And then you see there's also now a featured headline hero banner that you can customize to announce maybe new content or a new event series or whatever promotions you want. That's kind of your marketing space. We all know when you log into Netflix or Disney or whatever, they've got the latest movie or show up at the top to try and convince you to watch it. So we're trying to kind of imitate that feel within Virtual Y. All the tiles also getting a facelift. They were all kind of the same, which as we try to continue to merge the content types down the road could be confusing. So on-demand video versus live events now have a different look, with our on-demand videos having black tiles and then black content pages, and your upcoming live streams and meetings having a white tile with a little more relevant information there in terms of the date and when that will be coming. So that is design. But then the favorites dashboard, this is kind of what it would look like. If someone were to add videos, it would appear there as well. But it basically, you see all those little red hearts that have been selected. Anything can be selected now within the content types, and entire categories can now be favorited. If someone's really into yoga and they want that shortcut in their dashboard, they can import the whole yoga category through that tile. And so it will kind of dynamically adjust so that it somewhat fills the screen there. So you see we have 3 items, then 2 items, then 4 items. So that's kind of nice, where before everything was all kind of static in size. So it will sort of react to what content they have there. If they don't have anything for a certain content type, though, it just won't display on the dashboard. And they can keep track. And the important thing, too, is it won't get too cluttered, because the live events will disappear after they have expired. So hopefully they watched it, but otherwise they can wait and see for those events to show up in your on-demand library later. The live events calendar, as I said, it's now a week view with an hour-by-hour breakdown. So this Y is for early birds only, as you have to go to class at 2, 3, and 4 a.m. I will not be signing up for membership there, but that's how that would display. And so if you have multiple classes within a certain hour, then it'll kind of cascade down within there. And as you see, then the favorites feature follows within, so they can add upcoming classes that sound interesting to them directly to their favorites dashboard from the live events calendar. Then the kind of just little fixes. So as I said, we're adding some new things to the user activity log to make it a little easier to use, such as the name of the content someone looked at, instead of it being a mysterious Drupal node. The instructor name, just for those who are tracking that to try and figure out who their power people are on the team, and the author date in case you have an event series that all uses the exact same name and you have no idea which week was the most popular. That will help you there. Those will appear in the downloaded CSV file. There's only a minor change to how things look in the actual Drupal UI. But my understanding is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is most people are going to download that information into a CSV and kind of play with it and push it into whatever reporting dashboards they need to make for leadership. Next, auto logout. So as I said, you in the backend UI can set a custom time duration for a user to be logged in before then, after an activity, their session will expire, so that they're not just, logged in perpetuity. So, I mean, my own personal recommendation, if I was running this, is I would maybe set it to 12 hours just to ensure that someone has to put it in daily. And for those Drupal experts on the call, you do have to enter it in seconds. So prepare to do some fun math. That's just the way Drupal, every moment counts when it comes to, the Drupal CMS. So you'll just have to calculate that out, and you can set that parameter. Then finally, backend efficiencies. So it's a little smoother now to set up some of those CRM integrations. There's more tutorial documentation now that we've had a little time between our last release and now to get some information out there for people new to Virtual Y. And there's just more videos and resources as you're kind of completing that setup process in the back end. So if you're already live, sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead, Paige.
I was apologizing to people who are already live, where that last one probably isn't going to be very exciting to them because they already completed this and told me about the pain points they experienced. So thanks for the feedback, but that one you probably don't care about as much.
Got it. There is a question from Steph Noble for you, Paige, in the chat, if you're able to take a look at that. Talks about the user activity log.
Yeah, so that's going to be under, in your Drupal admin menu, you click the Virtual Y option, and in that dropdown, there should be a link that says logs. And you click that, and that will take you into your user activity log. If you do not see it, it means that you need to add the module in to your Virtual Y library from the list of the Drupal modules, if you're familiar with that. And if you are not, your agency partner will be able to set that up for you in a minute.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Then on to March. So that was January. And maybe we should pause and see if there's any questions about January, but if not, we'll look towards the future. Okay, so March. We will be adding search to Virtual Y, which for those of you who are probably using it as a module, it probably already works because you have it set up globally in your global menu. But for those on a standalone option, everyone's libraries are becoming large enough now that it makes sense to add search in so that users by keyword can find information that they are looking for. We're also going to start down the path towards supporting individual and small group programs, such as personal training or small chronic support groups, that chronic disease support groups, that sort of thing. And Reclick has updated their system to now support full SSO. So, hey, I had the pleading emoji face on my last presentation, so I guess I'm just going to try and find an emoji that matches every time. This one I actually added because March is just a big birthday month for the OpenY team, but we can also celebrate that Reclick has updated their system and we can build SSO now. So that will be our third CRM that just supports full OAuth integration with Virtual Y, which is very exciting. And we hope we'll continue to pressure our friends at ActiveNet to do the same, but no word there.
That is an excellent update, Paige. Thank you so much. Lots of cool stuff coming in the release today and some great stuff planned for March. So as Phillip mentioned earlier, Virtual Y just keeps getting better and better and better. Moving on to what else is happening this year for OpenY. And then Willow, I'm going to come back around to your API question in just a moment regarding Activity Finder. So as of today, this is what our current future plans are. So as you heard, Drupal 9 compatibility, so working to ensure compatibility with all OpenY features. As you heard Paige talk about, Virtual Y, so the authenticated content paywall, we will continue to evolve that platform. Next is Activity Finder and program registration enhancements. You heard Sarah talk about how we're going to have Activity Finder version 4 with multi-participant search, backporting that functionality from YMCA of the North into OpenY. One of the next things we hope to work on this year is the design system and better building tools. And that would be some new UX and content management tools for the OpenY core. And that really helps to lay the foundation towards an OpenY 3.x. Right now we're on OpenY version 2.x. That would include the style guide as well as some better user experience consistency throughout. We're also starting to work on making some enhancements to membership online registration that was introduced last year. You heard Sarah talk a little bit about how we're continuing to do code refactoring, improving the overall quality of the code, and reducing that technical debt. And then hopefully later this year, we'll be able to do the fourth round of our accessibility audits, which would include all of the new enhancements that we've done to OpenY. Finally, just a quick reminder that we have a few different ways that you can engage with the OpenY team. The first is openY.org. Next, to engage with the OpenY community is community.openymca.org. That's our message board full of archival information, in addition to those of you that use Slack for real-time chat. And then for anybody that wants any information at a really technical level, you can go into GitHub at the URL provided there to see every release note for all of the releases, going all the way back to the very history and beginning of OpenY. There was a question that came in a little bit ago from Willow asking about Activity Finder and if it requires an API with your CRM like Daxco. The answer is, for the most part, yes. While it could be possible to manually populate some of that information, we would strongly encourage you to use an API from your CRM, be it Personify, ActiveNet, Daxco, any of those, Reclick, that have such APIs. That's really what helps to drive that ability to pull in all of your programs and activities into a singular location to make it really easy for customers to see the breadth of offerings that your Y association has and easily find the ones that are most relevant for them. And so with that, that concludes our roadmap update. So I'm going to hand it back off to Nathan. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Sarah, Paige, and Craig, our product team. All right. So that concludes kind of the general updates, and just thank you all again for your contributions. And I mean, without this community, we're not able to advance the product and our learnings as fast as we could if it was just a few Ys working together on this, right? So wanted to, now we kind of transition to if there's any kind of one-on-one questions. We've been tending to use the last 10-15 minutes of our OpenY calls for people to stay on, for Mr. Wells to help kind of give updates on specific questions people have, but the core team will stay on as well. So I just want to wish everyone a happy new year, and just congrats on the progress that you're making, and thanks for your participation in the OpenY community. So that said, we'll kind of conclude the core aspects of the meeting, and for those that want to stay on with any kind of questions, we can dive into those with the core team and David. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next month on the call, but hopefully on Slack and some of the real-time channels in the coming days and weeks. So have a wonderful day.